What up, everybody? It's Ponter here, and today we have a very special game. We're gonna have a gold game and an actual official 100% 24 karat gold game on hometown as a 5v5, and it's almost the CSIE versus gold rematch, continuing the Wick, I guess, rivalry, one of the main ones that are still existent. And I want to celebrate gold for a moment, because we might talk a lot of shit about Donald Duck, the gold team leader, but how many players in the current community have actually put together a team and been able to get, 5 of their players on the same team and play a competitive match mode game? Like, not a lot of people have done it. So kudos to Duck for fighting through it and setting it up. And it really makes me want to play the game at a high level, and when I see teams like this, because, I really want to play competitive games against other players who care about getting better. Like, that's the most fun you can have in Wick. So, that being said, the other feeling I have is complete dread at ever losing to a gold team, because that loss screen is going to be posted on the Discord like a scalp held up by Donald Duck himself after he scalps your team. And also, the gold team that he has, this game was played in February 2024. This particular gold team is probably the most dangerous one yet. It has Dexter, I believe, is Golden Sword, which is a hilarious name for a gold smurf. Obviously, Frenok is an extremely good player, and these folks are relatively newer, but they still understand match modes. They can hack it in a match mode. And then on USA team, I have a little bit of an ad hoc team. We're going to be getting carried by Spirit Gun today, so he's getting the nice light blue color. He's going to be infantry. We've got Bakes, who is what's his face, Blitz, and got Augustus, who I'm not sure who he is, and then Big Papa, he's going to be our daddy air player, and I don't know who he is. I think he's Peru. I have Peru suspicions, but I don't even know. And we're obviously being spec'd. And I had joined this server, just to give this game some context. I had joined the server and I had seen this team take down a very similar ad hoc team. It was Tuna and Frankie and Cubics, and then I believe Augustus and Blitz all together, and they lost on Riviera. And so I was like, damn, okay, Gold's got some moves. I better join the opposite team and see how I can do. And I pick armor. It's my first game. I like it to do a warm-up game with armor. It's a little easier. And we have very little plans. We're actually busy talking about how to do the colored text. So if you pay attention, you actually get a good lesson from Cubics, who is an OG back in the game. Busy shilling his new map, Alaska. I really should download it, but I haven't yet. And we're off to the races. I do a delayed loadout. I wait a little bit to get my extra tank, and it looks like Augustus also waits a little bit. Look at that. We didn't even have to talk. We didn't even have to tell each other. We just did it. I split off, send the lights to the flanks, and look what we have here. Just glimpsed it. We have a double heavy air situation on both sides. Our air bang goes in, just wreaks havoc. Their air bang is a little distributed. Look at our air players actually just exterminated the entire support player. They killed all 4 AAs. And this team is just screwed. And in comparison, their airbang was not a collaborative airbang. It was a separated airbang, which has some advantages. Like, you can flank and pick off stuff. And we're going to see me overextend a tank. And, oh, man, that's a really big mistake on my part. I had pop smoke over here. And then I should have pulled back and waited or something. But we've got Golden Sword here camping the dam. And notice we haven't capped the dam yet due to this air camping. So they exchanged kind of the typical mass airbang of the town to instead work over the flanks, but they failed. And I want to note this. This is a very critical cap of from our team. Buttchick did not camp the gas in the appropriate way. This is why doing the split stuff, it works really well, because the support player has to separate their AA. They have to defend basically 3 places at once, and an air player can overwhelm like 1/3 of a support player in the opening spawn. So they could have pressed us and stopped this cap here, but they didn't. And this is why I always say the gas station is the most important. Like, I have reinforcements coming here already. We've got a scout generously donated by the air player to give a little bit of line of sight, but there's nothing coming, and we're busy forwarding away. Our jeeps are getting killed. Spirit Gun is doing special military operations, and again, we still can't cap this, and I just get frustrated. I'm just going to drop directly on the points and just get a cap that way, because we're still losing even though we have the gas station and we're forwarding it up. And in the meantime, a lot of their team effort is being allocated to town. Like, a lot of support, all the heavies, the infantry is pressing into town very aggressively. Notice the sniper from Spirit Gun got up here, and that guy, just keep an eye on him. And instead, they're pushing lights and infantry and again air over here. So it's a full team effort to take, or at least to pressure the dam. I get in there, I get the cap, and just notice no pressure on gas station. And also, I overextend my tank into a undefendable position right next to an infantry, so they have easy line of sight, and I lose my captain tank. That's a bad mistake. For just to shoot at AA, that would have get killed anyways. And this overextending infantry is annoying, but it's not decisive. And so let's break down the strategy here. Both teams went for the standard opener of double heavy air. There was flank harassment, which is kind of a unique thing. Like, you don't see this very often. And then a much delayed secondary push to gas station. So about 4 minutes in, after the flanking maneuvers and a little bit of really random pressure in town that's not going to amount to much. And same thing, pressure over here isn't going to amount to much. It's just really hard for the USSR side to pressure this in a sustained way, although it is sucking up a lot of attention from Spirit Gun. His sniper is still thriving, and this team is really struggling to generate any offensive anywhere. And instead we have complete inf dominance of these woods. So Donald's struggling against, you know, because Spirit got in here, he got his drops down, he's got the sniper up. These woods are held, these woods are defended. I'm getting drops into these woods. We saturated these, but these are actually full of defensive drops. Well, that looked like an air-to-air. And Augustus is already going to phase 3. So phase 1 on the USA side is always just take town and defend it and try to cap your flanks. And if you can cap the gas station, that's kind of phase 2, is defend and fortify the gas station position, which is what we've done. And it's really hard for USSR to get a push going when this is actively defended. Like, notice the AA is getting sniped immediately, and only now have both air players balled up. And this is, again, I always say this, as air players, you have to work together and communicate, at least at a certain level, and ball up your air to make a strategic push and clear something. These guys have not done it, and instead, or they've taken some time. And in the meantime, we're working this over. I do some clusters up here. Spirit Gun is doing drops. We've got air and AA helping out. The sniper is still alive, just backdooring their inf. And even though we're pressuring here and defending here, I know that this team has just invested everything into pushing gas, and they're being kind of pussies about it. There's no TA being used. Again, the air has not gone in, even though there's one AA here. It's gotten distracted by this push. And in the meantime, I go for the dagger and take the bridge. And this is, you know, the standard. This is kind of phase 4 of winning as USA. Defend the gas station, defending the town, And then when the other team gets pulled to the flanks, either on the gas station or the sawmill, you just relentlessly attack the bridge. And look at Augustus just solo capping this. What a Chad move. And again, the air players are just doing what they have to. One is supporting the flank and one is supporting the gas station flank. And they really have no ability to get anything going here. It's really devastating when the USSR inf has to spawn over here and dislodge another player, because it just takes so much time and they can't help out over here. And oh my god, those clusters are pretty late. They got lucky too. Like, my tank was not even on the point, they get clustered. But I'm just gonna keep spamming lights at this point, and my whole strategy is, you know, I'll spawn over here, I'll chuck lights to the bridge. I'll spawn over here, I'll chuck lights to the gas station. Now they're dropping directly on the points, but this is unsupported. And if I could make some suggestion for their armor player, is just mix in some more lights and definitely some more amphibious transports on this side. But it's so hard. It's so hard. And nice flare out by Big Papa. Only losing one chopper. It's so hard to get an offensive going here. Also, having a tank over here is really important at all times for USSR. So they can't take the gas. They're still fighting over, and in the meantime, I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go into town. I just want to decap it as soon as possible, because I'm assuming that they've been saving for a nuke. That's kind of your only hope at this point, even though it's kind of too late. Like, we have too much stuff at gas. Nuking the town is gonna save them kind of a disastrous tick, and instead they're doing a triple RD barrage, which is like 36 TA. That probably could have been used. I mean, a carpet would have been more definitive. Triple para drops would have been more helpful. This team was really outdropped by Spirit Gun, and even Spirit Gun, he's such a quiet little mouse. He's never asking for TA, or hardly ever asking for TA. So I always worry that he's not, you know, getting enough for constant drops, but we seem to be doing pretty good on the drop. I start asking for TA because I'm getting pissed. Like, I want to be flooding this with drops some more. And yeah, these heavy tanks pushing into town again are not the play. You really have to, almost me blobbing light tanks like this, also not the play, but you have to be very conservative as armor in a double air situation. Like, you have to play far back.
Reinforcements are on the way.
You have to realize I don't want to put my support player in a position where I'm unsupportable. So you do have to kind of play far back, and I mean, stuff like this, it's gonna happen. That's why, again, light tanks, it's not the end of the world if your light tanks get popped. You can always spawn more of them, and they get there pretty fast. And this is just a slow, relentless bleed now. They got the air player stuck here.
10 minutes remaining.
I just want to keep pushing. I want to poke this. I got the blob of lights going. This is how you get the tempo and just make the other team fall apart. Just moving lights, pressuring different parts of the map. Them kind of laboriously moving heavies forward. And that's a really lucky cluster we get there. They managed to cap they're never going to be able to defend this at this point, and they're never going to be able to get this going without drops. And without sanitizing these woods. Like, Spirit Gun has just these obnoxious infantry chucking missiles constantly. Like, as an air player, this is just the most infuriating thing ever. Like, you can't linger here. You might lose this ranked up chopper if this micros happens. And we're just capping the bridge. Easy peasy. That's a nice win. I'm glad we won this and didn't end up as a Donald Duck scalp on the Discord. But it's great that the gold team can put 5 guys up. You know, how many teams can even do that? I know there's some Smurfs in here, but hell, that's a good team. Definitely have some work, need some work, but this is why we're playing these match modes. Like, these match modes aren't, oh, like, we're the best players in the world. These are to learn, and, you know, this is better than pubs. Like, you're gonna learn a lot. I think the meta strategy of the split air from the USSR side was interesting, but again, the dominance of the gas station. Like, you just can't ignore the gas station. Like, any kind of fancy shit like this, like the flanking stuff or poking into town, all of that was a wasted effort. They could have just allocated half the armor player and all the air players to camping this and poking this, and they could have secured that and then got the virtuous cycle going where all they had to do was keep us struggling to get this in kind of a bad exchange and then nuke us at 12:30. Like, that's how you usually win. But hey, it's a good start for gold. We also played a seaside game right after this, and it went even rougher. But good games all around. Good to see the competitive scene is still alive in 2024, and hopefully we can get some more competitive games in the future. Yeah, take it easy, guys.